Hello and welcome to another video. Today, you guys, we are talking about music. I don't know about you guys, but one of my New Year's resolutions this year is to lower my screen time. I'm starting with a very small goal of less than 10 hours, which tells you just how bad my screen time has gotten. So, yeah, I'm trying to look at my phone a lot less. And so, as a result, I've been listening to a lot more music. And something that I've noticed with my music tastes lately is that I've had a lot of songs in my rotation that are either about specific people or named after people. And so I thought it would be fun as just like a drawing exercise if I went ahead and drew some of these people from songs. So that's what we're doing today. So let's just go ahead and get into it. The first song I'm going to be covering is Suzanne by Mark Ronson and Ray. Suzanne probably has the most physical description out of all of the characters in this video. Thankfully, that actually made it a little bit easier for me to draw her because she had so much physical description. As you guys will see, there's actually not that much physical description when they're describing people in songs, from the ones that I found anyway. But for Suzanne, at least, I have something to work with. So I'm going to go ahead and read out some of the lyrics. I'm not going to sing them because cringe. So we're just going to read them. So the narrator describes Suzanne as having eyes are like the ocean, nails are painted green, cigarette in her mouth. And that's all within the very first verse. Later on in the song, the narrator continues, her hair hangs like curtains, her smile is warm like June. And then this is not really a physical description, but it is sort of kind of a description of her personality, is that you can't tell if she's into you. And so all of those things together gave me a pretty clear picture of what I wanted Suzanne to look like. So based off of the description of her hair hanging like curtains, I decided to give her curtain bangs. Maybe that's a little bit on the nose, but hey, we work with what we've got, guys. And then for her expression, I tried to make her look a little bit amused, but also keep it ambiguous enough so that way it's hard to tell if she likes you or if she thinks you're an idiot. And you know what? I like that sort of expression. There's nothing I love more than a woman who's looking down on you. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I made her nails green, of course. I was kind of struggling to figure out what color green I wanted them to be because I'll be honest with you guys, I really struggled with the color scheme for Suzanne a lot. But initially, what helped me is I was like, okay, based off of the description of Suzanne, I don't think that she would be into like a lime green or like a bright green. So the first sort of color decision I decided on was sort of this dark forest green color. When it came to interpreting her eye color, I kind of wish I had spent a little bit more time thinking about it because I just ended up making them blue because I took like the very first literal definition of color, like eyes are like the ocean. Now I kind of wish I would have made them more of a stormy gray because that could also be considered like looking like the ocean. And I feel like it would have fit her more mysterious vibe of you don't really know what she's thinking or what she thinks of you. I feel like the gray would have suited that a little bit better. So if I was going to do this drawing again, I would have made her eyes gray, but you know, say la vie. It took me a while to figure out what kind of clothes I wanted to put her in because there's not really any description of what she's wearing. There is a bit of description of what the environment is like during like the events of the song. To read out some more lyrics, it says gray skies out the window. So I assumed that meant that it was like a gray wintry day. And so I decided to give her a scarf, long pants, a trench coat, boots, and a sweater. It was really hard for me to actually put these clothes on her because the reference that I used for the pose, just because it says that she's later on in the song that she's like sitting on a step, I believe. I did not write those lyrics down. I wish that I had, but she's like sitting down or she's sitting next to you and you being the narrator, puts her head on the narrator's shoulder. And so I wanted her to be sitting. And so I gave her the sitting pose, but the person doing the pose was wearing very different clothes. And I was like, I do not know how to put clothes onto this person. And so I struggled a lot with putting the clothes onto her. But eventually I figured that out. And then my biggest problem after that was figuring out her color scheme. I talked about this a little bit before, but I had the green figured out for her nails, right? And so I know I wanted to put this forest green in there to like tie it together. But other than that, you guys, I was like, I have no idea what I want to do with her clothes. I really struggled. I know I wanted her jacket to be tan because I really wanted like a tan overcoat situation. And so I was like, okay, it's kind of giving dark academia. So maybe I should go with like dark academia colors. But I felt like that really didn't suit her. And so I sort of kind of ended up defaulting to my normal kind of just going with complementary colors with the purple and green. What can I say? if I don't know what colors to do, I'm just going to pick one that I like and then do the complementary. I just feel like it always goes well together, at least when I do color schemes. The coloring that I really struggled with was her hair. I really could not figure out what I wanted to do with it. I cycled through like 5 colors. Eventually I just settled on brown because I was like, maybe I'm making this too complicated. Brown is a nice hair color. Sometimes, you guys, I try to do like more out there hair colors, like having characters with dyed hair or something. I don't know why. I always just default back to just regular, normal, everyday hair colors. But I feel like that kind of vibe fits Suzanne because I feel like the setting of the song is very mundane. And like, yeah, she's a bit mysterious, but I don't feel like it's like in like a punk rock way, just from the vibes of the song and the sound of the song. I think you guys would agree with me if you heard the song. So anyway, yeah, that is Suzanne. I will be honest, she was not the first drawing I did for this video. She was the second one that I did, but I do think that she is my least favorite of the video. That's why I put her at the front. No offense against Suzanne. I think she's cute, but I think I really struggled with the coloring and such, and so that kind of like poisoned the well against this one for me. But I still think she turned out cute. I think overall, I think I did a good job. Just not my favorite out of the video. The next song is Disco Barbie by C-Rod and Peach Matern. I'm not sure how to say that. Anyway, this one might be a little bit confusing because the song is called Disco Barbie, and I'm currently drawing a man. I don't think that men can't be disco Barbies, but the title of the song is actually referring to the narrator. But the person described in this song is a bouncer at the club named Ricky, and that's who I'm drawing here. Ricky, in comparison to Suzanne, doesn't have very many physical descriptors in the song. I don't think he actually has any physical descriptions of what he looks like. We have some descriptions of what he's wearing. The narrator describes him as wearing snakeskin Armani, and so I assume that meant shoes because that's what popped up when I Googled it. And I'm not sure what other snakeskin he could be wearing as a bouncer. And then he's also wearing Cartier that he has borrowed from his daddy, end quote. And so I gave him some jewelry as well. The narrator also describes Ricky as having fistfuls of tickets and cash because he's at the door of the club. So obviously he's taking the fee to get into the club, and then the tickets, I guess, that you purchase to get into the club just to prove that you were there. I don't know, you guys. I don't go to clubs. I feel like I should have put some money coming out of his pockets as well, just to show that the reason why he's holding it in his fist is because he doesn't have any room left in his pockets. I feel like that would have been good visual storytelling, but I didn't do that. Anyway, the point is, there really wasn't any other physical descriptions of Ricky past that, but it also wasn't that hard for me to figure out what I wanted him to look like because I do know his job. And so not all bouncers look the same, obviously, but they do tend to like have a sort of uniform that they wear, which is like black pants and like a black t-shirt. Sometimes it says bouncer, sometimes they'll wear like other clothes, but basically that's like the bouncer uniform, right? And so also, since I know that he's a bouncer, I know some things about bouncers is that usually they would be somebody big and strong, right? So that could give me a little bit of what I wanted his body type to look like. And so made him a big guy, big arms. I mean, his legs are not as big, but I think as a bouncer, maybe you wouldn't focus too much on leg day because you're more focused on like throwing people out, or maybe they don't train at all. I don't know. I don't know any bouncers. So since bouncers tend to wear all black, there's not really very much pops of color on him. I gave him a little bit of color with his jewelry because I felt like the gold would like really stand out against the rest of the black. And then he has color on his shoes, which are the snakeskin Armani. Again, you guys, I don't know anything about snakeskin shoes, but the ones that I Googled were green and blue. And so I made them green and blue just to match that look. I didn't draw the snakeskin pattern because that would have taken for fucking ever. So I didn't do that. I just went ahead and used a pattern that looked similar enough that I had in my brushes, and I just turned it sideways so that way it looked a little bit more like scales. I also gave him a little bit of facial hair, not too much. I didn't want to give him like a full beard because I wanted him to look on the younger side, because I figured if he's like 40 years old, he's probably not borrowing jewelry from his dad. So I wanted him to look like 25 or younger. But you know what? Maybe he does. I don't know. Maybe older guys do borrow jewelry from their dads. I don't know. I also gave him some under eye bags just so that way it shows that he is working overnight and doesn't get much sleep. I also gave him tanner skin and dark hair because the club Ricky works at is in Miami. They state that at the beginning of the song. And so I figured he could probably be Cuban. And I figured Ricky is probably short for Ricardo or something similar to that. I gave him a bit of an annoyed expression, and he's kind of looking to the side because I figured that he would probably, he's hearing like some commotion towards the back of the line and he's probably going to have to go break it up. And so that is Ricky. He was probably the easiest one for me to do. I already stated that this one was the fastest I did. Again, it was the third one, so I'd already figured out my flow of how I wanted to work with these. But also, he's a guy and that's easier to, like, there's like not much design stuff to do for guys. I mean, I feel bad about saying that, but men design, in my opinion, tends to be kind of boring. So unfortunately, Ricky's outfit is kind of boring in comparison to Suzanne's, but I actually think I like him the best out of all of these, more because of the story of the character in the song. I just think it's really cute that this pretty party girl is like, Ricky, come dance with us, come dance with us. And I imagine like he's very shy and respectful, and he's like, I can't dance, I'm working. But I think he's such a sweetheart. I think I'm actually going to use him for something later just because I think he turned out so cute, you guys. So yeah, that's Ricky. Our third and final song is She's a Bad Mama Gemma by Carl Carlton. The narrator does not give us the name of this woman. In fact, he doesn't really tell us much about her at all. This was the first character that I drew for this video, as well as the song that inspired me to make this video in the first place. Unfortunately, that made this one the hardest one to do because Carl Carlton tells us literally nothing about this woman except for vague descriptions of how hot she is, you guys. I had to get pretty creative with how I interpreted the lyrics. So first off, I decided to make her a roller skater, not because of anything in the song really that makes us think that she's a roller skater. One, the song just makes me think of roller skating. That's pretty much it. I don't know, something about the song just makes me feel like roller skating. There is a little bit in the lyrics that could justify her being a roller skater. One of the lines in there is, she's poetry in motion, which made me think like she moves elegantly, and I feel like roller skates are pretty elegant and fluid in the way that they move. I don't know if you guys have ever watched those videos of roller skaters, just like, I think they're called rhythm roller skaters or like dancing roller skaters, I'm not sure, but just the way that they move is so beautiful and elegant, and I feel like that line fit that sort of vibe. That's why I decided to make her a roller skater. The narrator goes on to describe her as beautiful, that she has all the curves a man likes, which ill, but okay. The song is from the 80s, so maybe that made the objectification of this woman normal. This is a very objectifying song, but that's neither here nor there. I wanted to draw her. So since the song is from the 80s, I figured that all the curves a man likes means that she would have a bit more of a full figure rather than being like rail thin or something like that. I actually wish that I would have given her a little bit more of a tummy, like a little bit more belly, like maybe poking out of the sides or something. Unfortunately, I didn't go as hard as I would have liked in that area, but that's okay. The narrator also describes her as being built and stacked. Okay, you guys, I'm going to be blunt and say he just meant that she had big tits. So I just went ahead and gave her some big boobs. I'm not very good at drawing larger breasts, I will be honest with you guys. For some reason, my brain defaults to drawing women with like no chest at all. I don't know why that is, but that's what I tend to do. A lot of my female characters have very small or little breasts. And so I felt like this is good practice, but damn it, it was so fucking hard for me to give her like a fuller chest. I don't know why, but it is. When it came to the built part, though, I changed it to a little bit more of the modern meaning. And so I gave her a little bit more definition in her arms and broader shoulders. So that way she's built in like a muscly way. And I like that. I like her broad shoulders, or at least broader shoulders than I usually draw. I kept her clothes pretty simple, a bikini style top and jeans shorts. Since she is roller skating, I feel like you tend to get hot when you're roller skating, and so this would like keep her cool. Also, since the narrator is talking about her figure a lot, I figure you would probably be able to see exactly what she's working with in terms of her body, and so less clothes I felt like made more sense. When it came to the colors for this one, it was easy but also hard. So this was the first one that I did. And so I'm not very good at digital art, and I don't have a very good rendering style, I feel like, in my opinion. When I usually do digital art, I tend to go with a cell shading look. Not that that's bad, but for me, I tend to like very soft shading when I do traditional art. I tend to work with alcohol markers, and I do a lot of back and forth shading to get a softer look instead of hard edges. And so I was trying to figure out a way to do that digitally. And so the way that I did that is I just really just spammed the hell out of the Gaussian blur, you guys. Like, I used it so fucking much. So yeah, I did that a lot, and I had to figure out how I wanted it to look in this first illustration. So this one ended up taking me about 7.5 hours, which is a long time for me. Most of my illustrations do not take that long, but this one took me a long time. I feel like a lot of it was the pose. I feel like 2 of the hours was the pose, just because it was a bit of a harder pose. I don't really draw a lot of people in motion, so I struggle with the pose a lot. But then the coloring really sort of kind of kicked my ass. But thankfully I did figure it out for this drawing, so it made it easier when I did the other two, so they didn't take nearly as long. So figuring out how I was going to color it was a really big struggle. Figuring out what colors I wanted to use was not quite as hard as it was with Suzanne, because there is a lyric in the song that says that she is poured in gold. I knew I wanted to use gold and or yellow in some way, and then I defaulted to my normal using complementary colors. So her bikini top is yellow and her shorts and her skates are blue. I just feel like blue, yellow goes great together. I love a complementary color scheme, you guys. So after that, for her skin, I wanted to make it a little bit more of like a golden tone. Like I said, the song said she's poured in gold, and so I wanted it to be a warmer brown, and I also wanted to do a bit more of a lighting situation. I tried this with the other ones as well, but I wanted to make it a bit more of like a warmer lighting for her. So I tried to put like some sort of yellow highlights on her, make them soft and stuff like that. I feel like it turned out good on this one. I feel like for the other ones I didn't go as hard with the lighting, and I kind of wish that I had, but that's okay. And then just to really hammer hold the gold thing, I just covered her in a shit ton of glitter. And that's the end of the drawing, you guys. Out of all three of these, I do think that she turned out the best. I think she's very pretty, and I think I could picture her skating around the roller rink and just catching the eye of everybody there. Unfortunately, she does not have a name given to her in the song, so I decided to call her Gemma. So she's Gemma, the bad mama Gemma, just because I thought it would be funny. Alrighty guys, there are our 3 final characters. I feel like this was a really fun exercise to work on designing characters. Do you guys think there are any other characters from songs you think I should design? I might end up doing this again if there are any good suggestions. I feel like I would have to like the song though for me to draw the character, because I have to listen to these songs on repeat to get like the vibe. So if you suggest something for me, like from the opera or something, or like maybe like a classical song where they like sing really high pitched, I don't know if I will be able to do that. But I will try for you guys. Anyway, hopefully I will not be taking another long break after this. I do have some videos planned in the future. I have like 2 different video ideas. My original goal for this year was to post 1 video per month. Unfortunately, that's probably not going to happen because it is already February when I'm posting this one, but I'll try to get like maybe 1 every 2 months or something like that, just something a little bit more reliable for you guys. One of the biggest things holding me back from making new videos was designing new sprites for my persona, but I have finally done that. I have a new persona picked out. This is her, you guys. I think she's very cute. I was struggling with her for a very long time, but I have her design down in a way that I like it, so hopefully I will be able to post more videos for you guys now that I have all of my assets done. Anyway, hopefully I will have more videos posted for you guys in the near future. Anyways, thank you guys so much for spending this time with me. I will go ahead and see you in the next one. Bye!